Hello, 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 hello. Want to welcome everybody to today's topic, which is deadly email marketing mistakes that you want to avoid at all costs. Email marketing is such a huge money making opportunity in our business, and yet so many are not really intentional with this. So I'm all about trying to change that dynamic. So as you guys are coming in, just give me a shout out. Where in the world are you? How was your Christmas? How was your holidays? What was the best thing you got for your Christmas holidays? For me, it was definitely family. I just curious as to how what everybody else's Christmas look like. If you've never been on one of my shows before, my name is Kim Garst. I'm a best-selling author and the creator of List Building to Profit and many other online courses that is designed to help you make more money in your business. If that is something that's interesting to you, then you are in the right place. I'm going to be going live every day this week at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, except for Friday. Friday, we're going to be doing it a little later in the day. And we're going to be talking about list building all week because I think it's something that we all need to get our heads wrapped around for 2021. So we're going to be doing some learning and sharing and all that good stuff. So we have Adriana. What a pretty name, from Australia. We had a quiet Christmas. It was a quiet Christmas here too, but both of my boys were here. I'm still in Virginia, taking care of my 96-year-old. 96 years. I can say he's 96 now. He's not almost 96 because he just had his 96th birthday yesterday. So taking care of him for a little bit. Hey, Donna. Great to see you. If you've never been with me before, just drop in a hashtag new. I'll wave to you. Okay, so talking about email marketing, just trying to get a feel for where everybody is. Do you let me ask a series of questions, and if you guys will just like respond and let me know where you guys are. Are you actively list building? I'd like to know. And we have Cheryl from Ontario, currently in a lockdown situation. I'm assuming that's because of COVID, right, Cheryl? Oh, Paul, it's so good to see you. Always so good to see you. Right? 96. Yeah, 96 years old. Ooh, Adam got an Apple Watch for Christmas. I love that, Adam. I wear mine usually just when I'm traveling. I should wear it more, but I find that I don't wear it as often as I should. Hey, Krister, it's so good to see you. So good to see you here. All right. Okay, so we have Cheryl Lynn is list building in Montana. Yes, okay. Lori says that monkey on MailChimp still isn't cooperating getting my list to deliver right. Girl, that's why I can tell you some things about deliverability too, man. Okay, so list building, why? Let's talk about this real quick because I want to set the stage for kind of like lighting the fire under you guys a little bit. If you're not list building and not actively list building, you may not be list building at all yet. You may be like, oh my gosh, I have no idea where to start. If that's you, I want to invite you real quick, and I'll remind you again throughout the course of today's show. But I'm doing a free masterclass over the course of the next few days, and it's not only for people who are just starting, newbies, but it's also for those who might be struggling a little bit to get their list moving. Maybe not to a place where you really feel like your people are communicating well with you or responding well to what you're putting out. Maybe you don't know what to send them, that kind of thing. Feel free to come out and, join us on that masterclass. But I think that the thing that we have to understand, you all have heard it, and I'm not like telling you anything you haven't said. Other people probably haven't said it to you before, but the money is absolutely in the list. Most people don't make a ton of money by posting on social media. You have something for sale, or you have a launch and you let everybody know on social, and that's a piece of it. You want to do that. But the sales don't usually originate from that social post. Most of the sales are going to come through landing in somebody's inbox. And if you think about how you purchase things, I would speculate that, especially online businesses, the majority of you probably purchase through email. Now, there are exceptions to the rule, obviously, but 95% of my revenue comes from my email list. 95% of my revenue comes from my email list, not my social platforms. I have over 1.5 million social media connections, and yet my list, which is a much smaller than that, is where the majority of my revenue comes from. So, it's important, and it's going to be way more important in the future because social is changing. It's evolving. It's getting tougher to be competitive and really get in front of the people we need to get in front of consistently enough to, when you put something out there that says, hey, I've got something that I know you need, they're going to even see it. So, making sure that you move people from social media to your list, your email list, is going to be, in my opinion, a huge, huge need in the future. And if you don't start positioning yourself for that now, you're going to struggle. And if you're already struggling, then you need to make this a huge part of your 2020 strategy. And that is getting your list up, running, automated, and growing. Okay. So I wanted to just, excuse me, set the stage for that. I brought my coffee because I'm having that mid-afternoon slump. And so I'm having to pump the little caffeine in there to get me going here. Okay, so I promised some mistakes. I wanted to talk to you guys about if you aren't list building, or even if you are, you need to be aware of these things because they impact how people are going to ultimately connect and purchase from you in the future. So my very first thing that I want to talk about as it relates to mistakes that I see happening is what I call no permission, meaning you're not getting permission to email the people that you're emailing. Now, this can come about in a variety of ways. You could just see people's email addresses to places. I mean, they're in the social space in particular, like Facebook pages. A lot of Facebook pages have email addresses. If they're, owners, those business pages, the owners of those business pages have incorporated their email addresses. So, I've seen people swipe those emails and use them without permission, right? So that's one way. You could purchase email list. I don't recommend that. Anything worth having is worth doing it right. And that's why, you have to do the work. You have to say, okay, do you want to be on my list or not? You have to entice them to be on your list with something value-based, which is my number one suggestion for getting people on your list legally and ethically. You want people to be on it's like buying followers or fans. They're going to do you no good to be on your list if they're not interested in your products and services or the business and the solutions that you offer to them. They're certainly not going to purchase from you. So it's like, if it's like a lot of people will buy fans and followers for social proof, but they're worthless. They're absolutely worthless to them because they're not engaging with their content, and they're certainly not going to ultimately buy from them. And so it's the same with your list. You don't want numbers just for the sake of numbers. You want people on your list that are interested in what you have to offer. Otherwise, they're not going to purchase from you. That makes a lot of sense, right? So, okay. So, and plus the other issue, sorry, I got a little sidetracked by a comment there, is that there's a lot of laws out there now that we just have to be compliant with, GDPR and CAN-SPAM and other things. So when you don't have permission to email people, you could get yourself in a lot of legal, AKA hot water, and who needs that, right? So that's my first, hey, don't make this mistake, okay? Make sure when people say yes to being on your list, they're They're actually saying yes, and you're not just putting them on your list. Another thing I've seen a lot of people do, and I thought I would touch on this real quick. When you are networking and you go to a networking event and you come back to your office and you've got like a stack of cards, and you say to yourself, well, I'll just put these people on my email list. Technically, that's not allowed. My suggestion would be, rather than do that, because you didn't ask their permission to put them on your email list. So my suggestion would be to send a personal follow-up email, just a one-on-one email to that person, and ask them for permission, rather than, or give them something value-based for free versus just randomly putting them on your email address or on your email list, because that can, again, get you into some trouble. So don't need that in your life. Okay, so that is my first mistake that I wanted to run over with you. And this is another one, and I think a lot of people don't think about this one, but I wanted to touch on it because it's a impression thing, and it's super important, because if you are sending emails that have spelling mistakes or even formatting and other stuff, can really detract from the impression that you're trying to make when it comes to having the attention of your perfect person. If you think about it, when somebody gives you their email address, it's almost as good as them giving you their phone number, right? Because that's more of a one-on-one opportunity to connect and build relationships with that person. And when they give you that, that's something you should honor. So, don't send crap, I guess, and put things out there that have spelling errors or formatting issues, or anything of that nature where it gives people a bad taste in their mouth. Now that said, everything doesn't have to be totally perfect, but you can fix spelling. There's no excuse for really not having your words spelled correctly. Now that said, I have done it. I have made, put it out and did there instead of there. You know what I mean? Like THERE or THEIR, or, we do stuff like that, right? So it's not that it has to be perfect, but it just can't be riddled, in my opinion, with errors, because error, that's a hard word to say. Say that 3 times fast. So make sure that you proofread, I guess, is my point. Okay, third thing that is a huge one. Okay, now this is something that is super interesting to me, because I think I bet you've done it and or gotten emails over the course of the time that you've been online, and have said yes to getting people's emails in your inbox, where you get an email and it's just flooded with all these links and opportunities to go this place or that place. And the intent behind the person that sent it to you was they wanted you to have options, right? They wanted to say, here's all these options for you. Go where you want to go. But it's a problem. One, when you don't include any call to action, meaning another direction, telling people what you want them to do, essentially. But when you dump a bunch of options on people, they get overwhelmed and they don't take any action, which is not what you want. So you want to incorporate one call to action in your emails. And this is why. Emails with one CTA, call to action, increases the click-throughs by 371%. Think about that, 371%. And it boosts sales by over 1,600%. Boom. Okay, so what do y'all think? Should you have one call to action, or should you send people an email with a bunch of options? I'm just curious what y'all think. I've seen some people do what I call, and they're value-based. So I want to put a caveat in there in the sense that I think there are some exceptions to this rule. I've seen some marketers who will send out what I would call a kind of like a summation for the week. And if you are letting your community know that that's what it is, and they're used to that, or they want that, then that's a little bit of a different animal than, sending out an email that's got, 15 different directions for people. And they're like, whoa, where do I go? So I'm seeing Marley says one, Nodella. That is such a pretty name. I personally prefer one as a customer and certainly understand what you're saying when asking my customers to. Yeah, it's just really interesting because the numbers back it up. The numbers are that one call to action will increase your click through rates by over 300, almost 400%. That's pretty stunning. And it'll boost your dollars, your sales by over 1,600%. So yeah, that's pretty big. We need to make sure we're doing that. Okay. All right. Another mistake that I see quite commonly. No one likes spam. So do not spam your folks, your people, your tribe, your community, your perfect person. I like to call it your perfect person, because if they raise their hand and they say yes to being on your email list, there is an expectation that you're going to honor that relationship. Again, they're giving you something value based, and you need to make sure that you're honoring that. I've gotten on some people's email list before, and oh man, it's just a constant stream of, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, and there's really no serious value there. So if you are going to build a list, this is my advice to you. Focus on understanding that those people are not dollar signs. There are people on the other side of those email addresses, just like you and me, and treat them like that. Like, if you really connect and love up the people that are on your list, give them value and talk with them versus talking at them. Don't approach them every day with, hey, buy from me kind of thing. You'll find that your list is going to be way more responsive to you. So don't spam them today to death, because no one likes that. Okay. Yes. So Nadella is saying, I've had to remove myself from a few because of the constant emails. There are seasons too, I think, when it comes to email. If you as a marketer are in launch phase, then you're going to be sending a series of emails over the course of a period of time, right? That's different, in my opinion. And most people understand that. Like I say, if I'm launching a course or something like that, there'll be a series of emails, 5 to 10 over the course of, 5 to 7 days, or whatever the time frame is, whatever the marketing campaign is set up, however the marketing campaign is set up. But if you're just, every day sending something that is not value-based, that's just all about you, that creates a very negative feel and leaves a bad taste in the mouths of those who are on your list. So just encouraging you to understand that and treat the people on your list as people, not dollar signs. Okay. Okay. Number 5 mistake that you do not want to make is not using an email service provider. Now, I would speculate that if you're just getting started, that you may be like, what's an email service provider? Or you may already be list building and you may have an email service provider. In most cases, I would speculate that it's one of the other, where you're like, okay, what's an email service provider? Okay, so let's start with that. An email service provider is a tool that allows you to email your people and automate and segment your list and all kinds of things that is almost impossible to do if you were trying to do this manually. So let me paint the picture of what that looks like. You don't want to be getting someone's email address. Let's say let's just start with something small. So let's say you have 25 people that said, hey, I want to be on your email list. I really want what you gave me for free, and I'm willing to give you my email address for that freebie. Okay. So 25 people, and you have them in a spreadsheet. Okay. So you go copy their email address, you go into Gmail and you pop it into Gmail, you put it in your subject line and you send, you type out your email. That's one email. All right, hit the send button, done. All right, you've got 24 more, right? So you got to go through that whole process again. That is not efficient for you or anyone else. So you want to make sure that you have a tool. We're currently using Active Campaign. I highly recommend it for a variety of reasons. But there's others as well. There's Aweber and MailChimp and ConvertKit and all these tools that allow you to have a holding place for those that are on your list, where you can send an email out to everybody on your list or only to certain people based on what they've said they wanted information on. So that's where segmentation and some other stuff comes into play. But it's a way, again, to make this process, list building process and communication process, super, super easy for you as a marketer. Otherwise, no one's got time to copy and paste and copy and paste and copy and paste and, just continue to one off that, right? Nobody's got time for that stuff. So you definitely need an email service provider. The sixth mistake that I see a lot, and this is something that is kind of a pet peeve for me. I've been on major marketers lists before, and while I don't want to be that person who's criticizing, that's a word I want, criticizing someone else's methods because it's obviously working for them. But for me, I just prefer it when I get value from people and I don't just hear from them when they want to sell me something. Now, I'm curious if that's the way you feel. Feel free to drop that in if, what your thoughts are on this. But for me, I feel like, it's a relationship. I've given somebody my email address. It's valuable to me. I would like to have something value-based. I want to get information or learn from, as well as have opportunities to purchase from that person. So if you're only emailing me once every 3 months, one, I'm not as likely to pay attention to you. I don't see you. You're not top of mind in my inbox is kind of what I'm thinking. And I'm less likely ultimately to purchase from you. So only emailing when you have something to sell, I think is kind of in my opinion, it is a huge mistake. All right, so let me get to this last and seventh mistake that I see a lot of folks making, which is not personalizing your emails. So I want to talk about this real quick because this is true across the board. I think going forward is the one-on-one conversations and seeing the people that we are communicating and letting them know that we see them, that we appreciate them, using their names. The use of a first name is the best way to showcase the value that you have for someone. It's like, hey, you versus, hey, Paul, so good to see you, right? It's just such a different feel, and it can be replicated in the online space. So I highly recommend that if you're going to be communicating and list building, that you personalize those emails. Now, we talked about a tool before. A tool will allow you to do that. A tool will allow you to merge fields, essentially, which gives you the opportunity to personalize. Like when I send out an email, it's always addressed to the person's first name. Hey, first name. Because I want them, again, to know that I see them as an individual, as a person, that I'm communicating with them, not with, hey, y'all, like a group of people. It's just a great way, again, to personalize to communicate on a personal level. Now, that's true in social too. I would like to say that real quick. If somebody comments on something on your platforms, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or wherever, Instagram, use the first name when you respond to them. Like, hey, Nadella, so good to have you here today. Or, hey, here's Nadella. I'll just pull her comment up here. if I was going to respond to her right now, I will respond verbally, obviously. But if I was just going to respond to text, I would say, Nadella, I agree with you totally, 100%. Something like that, where you validate her comment with that personal connection. There's no substitute for the use of a personal name. So highly recommend that you personalize. And what we're talking about personalizing, whether it's on social or in your emails, I want to throw in one other thing that I think is super important when it comes to email and not making this mistake. And this is true even with websites and things like that. Optimizing your sorry, I lost my train of thought. Optimizing your emails for mobile devices, y'all. So many people are consuming content with a mobile device today, and if those emails are not optimized for a mobile device, you could run into a lot of problems, and again, not get the same return on and the investment, the time investment. If people are struggling to read your emails via their mobile devices. And that's true of your websites too, by the way. If you haven't gotten your website mobile friendly, that needs to be fixed. It's stunning how many people are consuming content. It used to be, where, it was about 50% of people were consuming content through mobile devices. And now, golly, it's ridiculous. The numbers are, can be up to 90% of your viewers or your readers are, consuming their content on a mobile device. So we have to be cognizant of that, obviously. All right. So that was my 7, technically 8 mistakes that you don't want to be making if you're going to be leveraging the power of email marketing. And I want to remind everybody to please go and register for the Masterclass, because it is all about, basically it's 3 core things. So if you can do 3 core things, which everybody can, then you can list build and do it very, very well. So I'm going to be talking about that over the course of the next couple of days in this masterclass. So go register. It's totally free. There's a couple of different time slots. So if one doesn't work for you, hopefully the second one will. And again, like I say, I'm going to be talking list building all week. So same place tomorrow, 3 p.m. We'll be talking a little bit more about this whole list building opportunity. Okay. Awesome, Della. Adela is saying this was very helpful. I need to remember the personalization of mobile device. Yes, it's super important. Okay, just wanted to drop in, invite you guys to the webinar over the course of the next couple of days, or the masterclass. Give you some information that might be of assistance to you, and let you know that I'll be doing this every day for the next few days, just really digging into the email list building opportunity, so that we can all start 2021 with a asset that we own that will drive sales. So don't miss out on the masterclass. The first one's tomorrow at 10 a.m. And then we'll have one on Wednesday as well. All right. Thanks for joining me, y'all. Appreciate you so much. Take care of yourselves, and God bless. Stay safe.